I want to get to our panel now to talk more about U.S.-China tensions. Former U.S. ambassador to China under the Obama administration, Max Baucus. He was also the Senate Finance Committee chair while serving as the Democratic Montana senator, and former White House director of strategic communications under President Trump, and CPAC Foundation senior fellow at the CPAC convention right now, Mercedes Schlapp. Thank you both for joining us. Such an important topic. Ambassador, I want to get to you first because you said earlier this week that the whole public back and forth between what Speaker Pelosi was choosing to do and what the president told reporters about how the military felt about it. This whole public back and forth, which the White House still hasn't conceded happened. You said that this made the president look weak. Why?
Well, he could have told the speaker not to go. He did not. And on the other hand, she went, even though there's some White House indications that the White House did not want her to go, and that's not helpful. Now, in the overall scheme of things, the real problem here is that China regards Taiwan as existential. It's core, along with Tibet and Hong Kong. That was drilled into me when I was ambassador over there. And second, China subscribes, as does the U.S. and does Taiwan purportedly, to the one China policy. And China sees that the U.S. is backing away from one China policy. That is, maybe it says it subscribes to the one China policy in word, but it's not doing it in deed. That is, many U.S. officials are going to Taiwan. They've been encouraging Taiwan to move a little more closer to independence. Speaker Pelosi's visit is one of the last evidences of that. Yeah, so basically, China has to act now, and it is acting. We're facing a whole new situation here. It's a whole new normal, as you might say. And I frankly think that you're going to see China very much stepping up pressure on Taiwan. The main reason is because they want the Taiwanese to begin to think, gee, maybe we shouldn't necessarily be so hell-bent on a path toward independence, because China is starting to feel a lot of pressure on us. China also is trying to show to the United States that, hey, look at what we could do. We could blockade, maybe invade. So maybe to minimize, reduce some of America's interest in defending Taiwan. That's really what they're trying to do.
Right. And I want to get Mercedes in here because China keeps taking action after action after action. They're playing these war games around the island right now. In the meantime, the administration is almost pulling back here. I mean, they're reportedly trying to lobby Democrats on the Hill to delay this Taiwan security funding bill, such an important bipartisan bill for this island. They're delaying missile testing. Mercedes, tell me why this administration can't just come out, one, support the Speaker of the House and just outright say that we support her and we believe that she did the right thing. And why do you think they're pulling back?
Well, I got to tell you, when you have Senator Mitch McConnell and a number of GOP senators supporting Speaker Pelosi's trip, I mean, this is a should be a bipartisan support of the Speaker being able to travel to Taiwan. We've had other political leaders travel to the island before. We shouldn't have to put up with China's threat of Taiwan now that they're looking to continue these military drills in that area. Because we've had an American politician visit the island. That is disgraceful, and it shows that President Biden has very much sent a weak message to the Chinese government, and he really needs to stand strong and say, we're not going to put up with this. And instead what you saw was this division amongst the Democrat Party where Biden was not being supportive of Speaker Pelosi. That is harmful to our national security.
Ambassador, do you feel like we've heard some senators, Republicans, say that this is reminding them of Ukraine all over again? Is that what you feel? I mean, are you forecasting a possible invasion in the next 18 months?
No, not at all. They're very different. Putin is he's just how can I say, he's a militaristic adventurist, and he's very proud of Russia. He wants to expand Russian influence, and he has no right virtually to go into Ukraine. This is my judgment. On the other hand, Taiwan was Chinese territory before the Japanese invaded and got kicked out. We all, as Americans, do subscribe to the one China policy, which was set in 1979. I think you'll see China looking at Ukraine is actually in many ways. One is they kind of like having the United States have to face another front, that is Russia and Ukraine over in the east, while the United States is also dealing with China. It's been reported, and I think it's true, that the White House did a pretty good job in convincing China not to help Russia very much in the Ukraine war. Biden, I think, is doing a pretty good job trying to cool things with China as much as he possibly can. And that's one action he took. And China has not helped very much in Ukraine, a little bit, but not so much.
Okay, I want to switch gears now back to domestic issues, especially because we're watching the Senate right now possibly pass this massive spending bill, the Democrats' massive spending bill. Ambassador, you were the chairman of the Finance Committee when you served the Joint Committee on Taxation as well, which, by the way, Republicans often point to show that this spending bill is going to impact the middle class very much so. How do you see this? Do you think that this $740 billion package is going to increase inflation?
Well, inflation really is the word of the day. It has a lot to do with it, with the midterms coming up. That is clear. This bill, on a net basis, reduces the deficit. Reduces the deficit by $300 billion. So there is spending, clearly, but it also raises taxes on corporations primarily, not on the middle class. So on a net basis, it reduces the deficit. So that is arguably why it reduces inflation. I think it's a pretty good argument. You know, they're economists and they're economists. Some say it
there are
increases,
a lot of economists.
But I think it does reduce the deficit by $300 billion. So that does.
It seems like everybody has an economist that they turn to. Right. Mercedes, give me your perspective from the midterm angle of this. We've got the inflation numbers coming out on Wednesday. If they're not good, if they're worse, and then Democrats on the House go and pass this on Friday, are they just setting themselves up for a disaster?
Well, they already have set themselves up for a disaster because they've waited too long to tackle the inflation problem. Look, quite frankly, this Inflation Reduction Act is really the Inflation Expansion Act. It's looking to eliminate 30,000 full-time jobs. It's going to have a negligible effect on reducing inflation. And it's all about trying to pass through these climate subsidies and trying to salvage Obamacare to make sure that the premiums don't go up before the midterm elections. The Democrats are on defense. They have fallen too far behind because they focus more on other items like gender confusion or redefining what a woman is, and they don't even want to define what a recession is. They're recession deniers. And so in essence, I think that the Democrats are going to be in a very difficult position to win the midterm elections. I got to tell you, just here at CPAC, the people who are enthusiastic, the people who are going to go out and vote are going to be the conservatives, the Republicans. You're seeing independents, including the Hispanic vote, going our way to the Republican Party because the Democrats continue to focus more on their religion of climate change instead of focusing on how the U.S. can become not only energy independent, but energy dominant.
Mercedes,
and also seeing the weakness that we've seen from a national security angle.
Before I let you both go, I got to ask you, the former president is going to make a big speech tonight. We're still waiting on that straw poll results. What do you expect the former president to really hit on tonight?
Look, I think President Trump, as we know, he's very focused on continuing to talk about pushing back on President Biden. And he's going to make that comparison. Under President Trump, America was strong. America was secure. We had a stronger, prosperous economy where people were getting jobs. Inflation was low. And he's going to talk about the common sense policies of border security and how, you know, we didn't have this issue with Russia and Ukraine under President Trump's leadership. So that contrast is important. We know that President Biden, his approval numbers are very low. He hasn't been able to gain traction because he's letting the progressives run the shop. And so he's losing that coalition.
We're going to give the ambassador the last word.
President Trump's America First devastated America. It devastated us worldwide. It reduced our trade worldwide. It cut off alliances worldwide. It was a major step backwards in many, many ways. We have an opportunity in this upcoming election, 2024, to select a president. We don't know who's going to be running, frankly, but the main question is who's best for American.
And the voters will get to decide. You got it. The voters will get to decide. Thank you both so much for joining us on this panel. We appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day. Griff?
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.